Pleasant afternoon. Basically, we are gathered here to register our dissatisfaction with the manner in which the U.S. visiting delegation, fact-finding delegation, would have operated visiting the township of New Amsterdam. We found the delegation to be more biased than one that appears to be non-partial, but a delegation being led by Mr. Leon Saul or accompanied by Mr. Leon Saul and Mr. Ford tells us that it was more a political movement than an independent and impartial group coming to do fact-finding. Secondly, the leadership of the PNC, the mayor and the deputy mayor were well aware of the delegation coming to the township. And the membership, the citizens of the township were unaware. Scores of persons from the township turned up to the town hall and were turned away because what they encountered was a bursary award ceremony instead of the U.S. delegation group. Only to learn later that the U.S. delegation was indeed there, but the delegation was in the chambers. The chambers is a very small room. The capacity of the chambers could not have held the amount of persons who wished to express their concerns. And so, to make the decision to carry the delegation in the chambers and then to put on your Facebook page that you had a town hall meeting, firstly, that tells how dishonest they are and what was the intent of the PNC leadership in New Amsterdam. They have collaborated or misled the U.S. delegation. The U.S. delegation can never be seen as fair when they went into chambers. By the way, PPP supporters and persons who were agitated by the development role the party is playing, heard and they stepped into the meeting. So it was actually a closed-door session. So we do not recognize the delegation as one that is transparent. It appears to us that it is a movement more or less led by the PNC. In fact, the very visiting delegation, we Guyanese knew of it when Mr. Rickford Borg had announced on his page that they will be coming to Guyana. And then Mr. Benchcott on his page was interviewing them in the morning while they were traveling to Guyana. But we were unaware of them coming to New Amsterdam. And so scores of people from New Amsterdam didn't have the opportunity to express their concerns. But for the few of us who went into the room, to our surprise, it was strictly PNC members, PNC supporters and cronies, and they heckled at everything that we had to register. We had made our points, and we made them very clear that the government of the day, all of the programs that the government are rolling out, affects each and every citizen. There is nothing racially discriminative to anyone. And so for the PNC, APNU, to cry of racial discrimination in New Amsterdam or any part of Guyana is a very sad situation, and it's far from the truth. We had members of the PNC, sitting councillors of the PNC, AFC councillors, who made a lot of untruth statements at the visiting delegation forum. Some of those statements relates to the treatment of public servants, the way in which contracts are being held, the way in which house lots are being held. But my colleagues here will also expound on some of those matters individually. So let me just give the mic to Ms. Pilgrim so she can share some of her thoughts.
I'm asking to be excused. I have a severe cough, which I don't want to spread to anybody else, so I have to speak with my mask on. But my name is Barbara Pilgrim, and I have been a member of the People's National Congress since I was a teenager, some 50-odd years ago. And the fact that I am now a member of the PPP speaks volumes. I know of a fact that several prominent members of the PPP crossed over to the PNC. One of such persons is Mr. Ranji Chansing. But what I suffered, the type of vilification that I suffered when I left the PNC to come over to the PPP, those people did not suffer that type of vilification from the PPP. So we know who is racist, who are racists. And some of the Facebook posts didn't make bones to say that I'm a black house slave, and all those sorts of things. So the point that the party is making to the U.S. delegation that the PPP is a racist party, I want to debunk that from the beginning. I have been treated very well since I came to this party. I've been treated fairly. I've been treated as if I'm a human being. Now, in the first place, I did not know of the meeting at the town hall. New Amsterdam is not the only town in Berbice, and I was wondering why it is that Rose Hall was not involved or Curriton was not involved. Was it because they are led by the PPP councillors? That's a question for the delegation to answer. Second, I am living in this town and I was not aware until I was asked hours after if I'm at the town hall from a phone call. The fact that I, who am a popular person in this town, didn't know that this was going on shows that there was no intention to fact find it, because if you go to fact find, then you have to go to the people, to the man in the street, not a select group of people. I understand that there was a lot of things going on there. Indeed, and in fact, Ms. Cox raised a question about the cash grant. Now, I was one of the persons who was totally against us interviewing anybody at the party's office. And I made that very clear to the leaders. What was happening is that the town hall were interviewing people. And then when they finished sending the people to us at the party's office, whereas those people should have been sent to the regional body, which was the body that was really looking at these people. Yes, Ms. Cox came. I didn't send her away. I took her information. But when I sent the information to the body that was responsible for looking at the cash grant, they said she already got a cash grant. Maybe about 6 months before, she got $150,000 from the presidential grant. So automatically she was disqualified. People have to be honest when they're doing things. You can't have a cash grant and then 6 months after come back. If that happens, then what will the other people get? So I want to debunk that I said this person scratched out her name. These are the facts. She got a cash grant about 6 months before, so she was not eligible to get another grant. I as a politician always do not let politics come between my relationship with people. I was a member of the Regional Democratic Council since 2002, and I maintained a good relationship with the regional chairman, the regional vice chairman, Minister Zulfikar, and because of that relationship, I could have gone to them and asked them to assist. I know for a fact that I, as a PNC member, was asked by senior PNC leaders to get favors, including part-time jobs. And the people who were controlling those part-time jobs was the Regional Democratic Council, which was headed by PPP members. I also know that the people of Country Creek could say that they used to get contracts to clean the Country Creek. All of them are Afro-Guyanese. And when the government changed, I went to the regional vice chairman and said to him, I hope these people will be maintained as contractors to do the Country River. To date, those people have not been changed. Is that discrimination? I wonder if somebody could tell me. Apart from all of that, when the cash grant was given, a lot of PNC people got cash grants. So to say that there was discrimination in giving out these cash grants is not the truth. And I hope that the members of the delegation will take these things into account and be fair in their assessment of the situation in the United States.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. A few other points also that we wish to register. In relation to accusations of racial discrimination, if you go to a simple village, let's choose Firish, that's an Afrocentric community. If you go to Firish right now, 98% of the roads in there have been done. The contract for the maintenance of the canals in those areas have been given to the residents of the community, who are all Afro-Guyanese. Those contracts were given to them under the PPP administration, under the PPP-led Regional Democratic Council. That cooperative have enjoyed that contract from since the PP have gone into office. Not during APNU time. And so they are enjoying the contract for the maintenance of their canals and their drains. All of the roads in their areas are upgraded. So how can we cry foul to discrimination? That is a PNC stronghold village. And it is the said PPP regime that they are crying foul, ensure that all of their roads are up to date. I can take you to villages in Kanji where are more Hindu-centric and the roads needs to be done. So is that racial discrimination? All the streets in New Amsterdam have been fixed under the People's Progressive Party city government. APNU was in power and they barely gave them 3 streets. And this is their stronghold. Who really is discriminating? So, if you go on the East Bank, If you go on the East Bank, presently right now, there are over 26 roads that contracts have just been signed to young contractors in New Amsterdam to do roads in New Amsterdam and in the Glasgow housing scheme, Fort Ordnance and all those areas. The government is on a drive for development. They are giving scope to young people to develop themselves, to become young contractors. And I believe it is because of the rate of development and how Afro-Guyanese are agitating and coming on board of the development train. That is what is causing the problem in the opposition camp, which is adding to the already division they are having there with who want to run for leadership and who bringing a delegation to agitate the people that they are getting American support. They did not come here to look for discrimination. We don't have any racial discrimination here. We don't have a racial problem. What we have is that there are certain grouping of people who needs to go out there in their constituency and assist their people to be prepared and be positioned to exploit the opportunities that is available to them. That is the truth of the matter on the ground. There is no racial discrimination from the PP government, none whatsoever. There are PNC supporters today who are calling me on a daily basis and asking me how they can come across into the party. I said, look, I am not a party member yet, but surely I can show you the way, because they are seeing the progress, they are seeing the difference, because many of them suffered under the APNU. Many of them suffered under the APNU. So the whole issue about racial discrimination when it comes to the issuance of contract, the giving of cash grant, all the hullabaloo that the APNU cronies went upstairs at the town hall and addressed the delegation is total nonsense. And we need to debunk it, because this is not the truth. The residents of New Amsterdam do not agree to that. Why did they keep the residents out? Because the residents were willing to go up there and say that the People's Progressive Party Civic has brought life back to New Amsterdam. The People's Progressive Party is on a drive to make New Amsterdam a part of the train of national development. As we speak, right now there's clearing the field by Fort Kanji for the development of a 5-story brand new modern hospital. We are having, right now, they are continuing with the project of the synthetic track and an international football field. A stone throw away from New Amsterdam, they are presently putting up a stadium. Development is on the move and everybody wants to go with development. We are not in a mood of repression and oppression. The people of New Amsterdam do not want to be in a mood of oppression and repression. We are saying forward with the People's Progressive Party, and we mean that. We have demonstrated that at the last local government election polls. We have seen we have increased to 60. It means that we now control 46% of the vote in this town. And if we were discriminating, persons would have never voted for us. And so we are continuing the train of development, and by the next local government elections, we will indeed be running this town and deliver to the people what they really deserve. Thank you.
I want to say that there is no discrimination on the PPP government. What I can verbally say, I am a victim from the APNU party who was discriminated by my own comrades under the APNU government. I was violated, I was discriminated. And so when they are speaking about discrimination, filter the group that came to Guyana and said they're gathering information to take back to the White House, the true and correct information. And don't filter them with fake information or false information. They are the person who do discriminate person. For example, when I was at the New Amsterdam Comic Festival, I was violated by my own colleague on the APNU government. And when I speak out, I was sent home. I was sent home, and even when they were in power, they sent home 2,000 Indian persons home. So when we're speaking about discrimination, what are they really talking about? Discrimination under the PPP government? Under the APNU government, there is full violation, discrimination, stigma, and everything you can think about. They stigmatize their own comrades. Look for the local government election, how they bombard black people, calling them the P-Dog, and all these different negative names. So come on, let us work together and unite Guyana. Let us live as one people, one nation, one destiny. So I am pleading with the APNU. Stop giving fake information to the company, the group that came to Guyana, said they are gathering information for the White House. Be honest and be truthful to yourself. The information wasn't even filtered to us that they are in our region and they are here to gather information for the White House. It's by mistake we heard so let us continue under the PPP government to work for one Guyana, one people, one nation, one destiny, because that is the PPP goal and objective, to see we all work cohesively and cohesively. So we are working towards one people, one nation, one destiny, one Guyana.
One more point. I want to address personally the disrespectful behavior of Mr. Rickford Bork. I noticed on Facebook calling the Vice President of Guyana all sorts of belittling names and terms. I don't even want to repeat them. I don't understand why Rickford Bork feels that he could be addressing persons who are elected officials in office the way he does. Now, the very American delegation that is here, is it not the same America that stood up to ensure that democracy prevails? So how is it today that America is tolerating Rickford Bork to be disrespectful, extremely disrespectful? If he's a man, he's a real man, let him come home and take a visit. Let him come home and take a visit. We need him. Let him come here and talk with us. We want him. We want the U.S. delegation. We want him to come and hold bottom house meetings with us. Let him come to Guyana and fight for the right. We don't want to sit in America and run him out. Come home. Mr. Lincoln Lewis. Mr. Lincoln Lewis was live on air calling my fellow African colleagues who came across to the PPP and who are with the PPP or supporting the PPP house slaves. I want to know what really is going on. Can an oppressor, can someone who's repressive in their thinking really and truly be able to identify who is a house slave? Can they really? By their very conduct, by the utterances of their mouth, you can see that they are the embodiment and the emblem of racism. So what they are doing is reflecting their very thoughts and their DNA. We have to stand up against this. As a Guyanese, everybody have a right to choose which political party they wish to associate with, and which associate on the basis of the policies and track records of the party, not on the basis of race. That is what we are fighting for. That is what the new generation wants. But these old, ancient, outdated thinkers still want to hold on to the line of racism. We are saying no to racism. We are saying yes to unity and yes to one Guyana. That is the whole basis on which the president is unrolling the One Guyana initiative, because he wants national unity. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It really is saddening to know our brothers and sisters on the opposition party is peddling the type of politics, racism, which has only one purpose: division and separation for the nation. It's terrible. It's terrible and it's very, very disappointing, because that is not what we stand for as a party. I just want to make this simple. The People's Progressive Party, the Civic Army, if you will, we are here for one purpose and one purpose only: development and comfort for all Ghanaians. We do not play on racism. We play on principle. We play on politics and progress. One peoples, one nation, one destiny. And in the words of Dr. Irfan Ali, one Guyana. That's all the People's Progressive Party is about. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Joel Amsterdam. I would just like to debunk all allegations of racism leveled against the People's Progressive Party Civic. On a few days ago, a delegation that came from the US that came under the disguise that they're trying to find some facts, that was prompted by the APNU PNC. They came to the municipality of New Amsterdam. Residents from the township was not informed of the meeting. Only PNC, APNU supporters and colleagues, comrades, whatever. Anyways, we heard about the meeting, so we were there. We decided to go. Lo and behold, when you look at the delegation, the entire delegation looked racist. They all look the same. So in my mind, they came with an agenda, a particular agenda, an agenda that was engineered by Mr. Rickford Burke and the hierarchy of the PNC APNU coalition. I would like to touch on two issues. Firstly, the issue of lands being allocated to friends and families of the PPP. Now, we always got to go back. Now, in 5 years, plus the 5 months that APNU told to, so it's 5 years, 5 months. Now, during that time, about 7,000 house lots were allocated to Guyanese. Most of them were allocated to the APNU PNC friends and family. Persons like Mingo and Lowenfield and those persons were allocated acres of land. The ordinary Guyanese citizen didn't get land. Most of it went to PNC friends and family. Now, move forward a bit. From 2020 to now, over 30,000 house lots would have been allocated. 30,000 in just about 3 years under the People's Progressive Party Civic government since we took office. And majority of persons that would have been receiving lands are young professionals and persons that would have been in the system and persons of all race, religion, and creed. So there is no issue of racism in New Amsterdam or in Guyana as a whole. Another issue, I think they were talking about contracts being awarded to the friends and families of the People's Progressive Party. I would like to debunk this claim. This is not so. They are also saying that only East Indian persons are getting contracts and friends of the PV. This is not so. This is not so. If you look recently, in this region alone, 287 contracts were awarded recently, and of those, about 60% of those are Afro-Guyanese. From New Amsterdam alone, a good portion of Afro-Guyanese receive contracts. So for you to come here, for them to come and say that the People's Progressive Party Civic is racist, is a racist government, it is far from the truth. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to support my colleague on that point also when it comes to contract. There is a tender board process, and the government utilized the process of tendering. At the meeting with the US delegation, one of the councillors stood up and said that persons come to the PPP office and they write down the name, and then it goes down to Georgetown and people being issued a contract. I really want to know if the Comrade think that is the People's National Congress in power. It's not the People's National Congress in power. It's where I come from, so I know the culture. So he thinks this is not the PNC. It is not the PNC. This is the People's Progressive Party Civic. At no time I being around this office have I seen any contractor came here to submit any name here to receive contracts. Those issues are being dealt with by the Regional Democratic Council. So those misleading information, and the thing is that most of those persons making these allegations are aspirants. They want contract. There was one of them who stood up there and said that she heard everybody get a contract, so she registered a business because she want a contract. And by she didn't get through the contract, she start going on like Crinky and the brain. So we debunk completely all of the nonsense that they're saying because we know that's not true. The reality of the situation is Guyanese people are living in harmony. We are peaceful people. We are far more concentrating right now on uniting against Venezuela rather than this nonsense with the U.S. delegation and Rickford Borg and who aspiring to become the new leader for the PNC, agitating all sorts of nonsense. We don't have time for that. We need to keep our people united and focus on Venezuela. We have more important things to do. We need to look after national development. And so we debunk completely all of the nonsense and the lies and the falsehood that they are peddling.
In conclusion to what I have to say, I want to say that we either live together or we will die together. And sometimes we need to put aside personal ambitions, not differences, ambitions, and work for the common good of this country. I am convinced that the president means business when he talks about one Guyana. I am a member of a chat group called Moving Guyana Forward. And even while I was in the PNC, there are persons here would tell you that I always said I believed that the president was very serious when he mooted this idea of one Guyana. And my appeal today is to let us stop all this pettiness and nonsensical behavior, because a lot of Indian contractors were getting big contracts during the PNC time. Am I to believe that, well, they weren't entitled to get contracts? And some of the same people who were getting contracts then continue to get contracts now. But I happen to know in this region that several young people who have, and I'm talking about Afro-Guyanese people, who have never thought about being contractors are now contractors because of the One Guyana initiative. I happen to know that it is also an initiative of the government that at least a certain percentage of each contract, of the contract out, should go to small contractors and not the big contractors. So I don't understand this thing about discrimination. We're looking at young people being given initiative, given a chance to develop themselves. Let us look at all the scholarships that are being awarded. Let us look at all the other opportunities. I was a former mayor of this town, and I've never seen so many roads done like what is being done now. And I'm saying what we need to do is to put aside personal ambitions and personal problems and work together for the good of this country. And I want to reiterate what I said before. We either live together or we'll all die together. Let us see what Venezuela could do with me if we don't live together.
I want to probably say this afternoon, congratulations to the PPPC government. And I want to say that we, the young people, have the opportunity presently now that we never had under the APNU government to further our studies at the University of Vienna, free of charge. There's so many gold programs out there. So I would encourage all young persons to access this program that are out there, this gold, this win-win program. It is free, and you have in the West Indies certificate. Right now I'm in the whole of the emergency community in rescuing emergency program right now. I'm completing it this month here. So I want to encourage persons, don't bash the PPP. Under the PPP, there's lots of open opportunity. I also want to also speak about the fake information that person have been given bribe under the PPP to come out to be PPP member. That's not true. That is total nonsense. That are blatant lies. We on the here, and I can ask this entire forum here, and you will hear everybody saying they want to. No person they were given any finance, any house, nor land to be a part of the PPP family. With the PPP government, with our vice president and our president, there speaks volume. They speaks about family. They don't peddle hatred and discrimination and violation. We speaks about family here under the PPP government. So I also want to clear up the fake information about PPP people were up in the municipality to take names to give out grants. That is not true. I want the APNU to be truthful and honest with the information that was put there last week, that they were the person who collect name before the local government election and promise the people to give them finance, not the PPP family, not the PPP government. That's all.
Good evening. I'm here to show my full support, 100%, and to give my support to my fellow comrades that are sitting here. As you know, I'm proud, and like everyone else here, none of us here are on the fence. We are in 100% support of the PPP government. The movement that you can see is not, they don't need any fact finding. You just use the data and you look at the PPP manifesto. One by one we have accomplished almost everything that is listed on our manifesto to begin with. What you find happening, the jealous opposition, which is the APNU PNC, they peddle a lot of false information on a day-to-day business. But we are here, my young fellow comrades, you can see all of us are here, and we support all the goodwill of the PPP